Okay guys, we are back. Get ready for another week's worth of Zelda. It's going to be pretty exciting, and I think the release schedule for this week is going to be a little bit better than it has been in the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to do one of my big batch releases anymore. I'm also going to be stepping up the pace of release, like I said in my podcast. I think that's going to make for some better viewing, and I think it's also going to be a little bit less stressful for me in the long term, because if I release Zelda as quickly as possible and get it over and done with, then I won't have to do this awful editing anymore. I'm having this really annoying problem with my Zelda footage where the audio is always one frame out of sync every 1,500 frames, so it's pretty regular, and I'm not smart enough to work out what the actual frame rate should be, for the footage. So I think I need to sit down and do a bit of maths to work out if the frame rate of this particular video footage is correct. If the audio is pretty linearly out of pace all the time. Also, forgive me if you can hear some clicking in the background. I put a really shitty hard drive from like 4 or 5 years ago into the computer to see if I could still use it, and it's clicking a lot. And I opened up my computer something like twice last week, and I just don't want to unplug everything and open it up again. So I'm going to persist through and hope that the audio from the game drowns it out. So let's get started. Sorry for this huge introduction where I'm getting really frustrated. So let's go. So as you know, we collected a couple of gold sculptures on the lake, and now we're coming to the embankment of the lake, and we're going to record the Scarecrow's song pretty soon. And I'm not sure if those butterflies signify something. I think they're just butterflies there for aesthetic's sake. It's kind of funny because when you play the song for this Scarecrow, it's not actually him that pops up in the areas in the map. It's his friend Pierre. So it's kind of like, he just ropes his friend Pierre into doing his dirty work. I kind of hoped it would be this Scarecrow that did all of the work. Also, I think I rather enjoy watching back the footage instead of editing it. Like, editing is a really humdrum task for a game like this. Like I said in my podcast, I really enjoy editing Shenmue footage, because Shenmue is more like a movie, and there's a lot of talking, and there isn't a lot of really bizarre abstract tasks. This is me just giving you a view of the lake here. You can tell how crappy my joystick is, because it can't seem to accommodate very smooth motions. We're going to be assaulted by Kapora Gabora, and I think when you see the Kapora Gabora footage, you're going to maybe be a little bit accosted by my new editing technique. I worked out that you actually can't tell the difference really by a quick jump cut in this game as opposed to a really careful crossfade. So I'm not going to crossfade anymore. I'm just going to jump cut. It makes editing a lot easier and faster, but I still have that really annoying frame dropping issue. I'm not sure if it's frame dropping with the video or whether it just is recorded at a really bizarre frame rate. I probably shouldn't talk too much about the frame rate. So here's Kapora Gabora, and we will just cut. Yeah. I'm so glad we can do that. The power of editing is excellent. It's really frustrating to have to sit through dialogue like that, especially when you're kind of sequence breaking a little bit like we are. We haven't come up to this particular part of the map the way you're supposed to. I think what's supposed to happen is you kind of go out into the map and you explore all the areas, and then you work out exactly what's meant to happen in the narrative. Whereas we've really been gunning it. This guy's literally going to sell us a piece of heart for 10 rupees, which is a good trade, I think. So we're just checking how many heart pieces we have. So we've got 2 heart pieces. Right, let's save. Also drop some rupees, which is nice. That's a nice thing to do. Right, now I think we go over to the beginning of the Gerudo. We're going to spend quite a bit of time in the Gerudo desert in this episode. But We just gotta head over there now. And these little propeller things are really irritating. Just walking around here. It's a bit difficult to work out which part of the map it's in. It's not choreographed very well, flagged very well. Sitting down here. I figured I'd show you guys the entrance to it, but as we get further and further into the game, there will just be more jump cutting. Or I'll just say we come to this area here, or we come to the other area over here. I'm gonna lose a lot of hearts here. And we are assaulted by Kapura Gabur again, and I will just choose to cut. Which I am very happy about. Don't feel discouraged, just listen to my long rants. I really like the shading of the night sky. These guys take out a lot of health actually. I'm gonna try and kill them with my... No, they're just gonna come up from behind me. Especially when we get rid of the bunny hood later on. The bunny hood episode, when we get rid of the last mask in the happy mask trading sequence, there's just going to be a million of them flying around us. It makes being in the Hyrule field really annoying. I don't really like those flying guys. I don't know why they had to be in the game. I'm gonna try and head into the Gerudo forest. Gerudo Valley. Little quick tip, you cannot hit rocks with your sword. Right, there's going to be a gold sculpture on the right here, but we're not going to be able to get this one until the end of the week. Just showing you guys. Where is it? Here it is. And that'll obviously disappear when the sun comes up. So we'll head on down. Basically the rest of this episode is going to be taken up floating down with cuckoos, with little chickens. And it is quite a frustrating experience because the guide I was using wasn't very descriptive about what kind of features of the environment to look out for. So I just jumped straight down. So the place that we need to head to first is not down there. It looks like it should be down there. I didn't know how deep the valley was, but it's actually further off to the left. That's the first place that we have to go to. I'm also going to make another mistake in this episode and not put a bottle of bugs into the soft earth on the floor at the bottom of the valley. We're going to have to come back and do that later. I basically make two mistakes with the soft earth this week. The first is that I don't plant a bean in the Lost Woods, and the second one was obviously that I didn't put a bottle of bugs into this soft earth here. And I think by now I'd figured out that I'd done something wrong, because this was way too long a flight down, all the way to the bottom of the valley, whereas the first platform off to the left is a little bit of a quicker flight. And I think one of the strange things about cuckoos is that you actually can fly quite a long way with them. You wouldn't think it, but you can actually, and it doesn't make sense in terms of the size of the cuckoo versus the size of you, how far you can actually end up flying. It's difficult to work out your trajectory. So by now I'm getting very confused. There's a cow here that wasn't in my guide, that wasn't what was explained to me. I'm not sure whether to blame the contextual cues of this game, or whether it was because I was gaming the game, if you know what I mean. Like I was using a guide instead of looking around the area properly with my own eyes. So now I'm trying to hit into this box, to roll into this box, but I keep missing. I'm going to draw my sword in a bit and climb on top of the box because of the context sensitive button. Yeah, and obviously there's no gold sculpture or heart piece in that box. So now I'm getting very confused. So I plant a bean here, but I don't actually release bugs into it to get a gold sculpture. So now I'm very confused. I also think it's hilarious that it's now that my broken hard drive decides to start clicking. It's a very sneaky fade. I don't think that was a fade. I think it was just a... No, that was a fade actually. That looked nice actually. Alright, so there's a little alcove behind this waterfall here. And we just need to fly out into the water. And the water's actually very still behind the waterfall. But I think you do have to reach some sort of distance beyond the lip of the piece of earth back there. It's now difficult to try and get onto the ladder. It's difficult to clip onto it. That's one of the problems I have. The context-sensitive button hasn't really been implemented properly. I think I'm getting more and more critical of this game as it's going on, which may make for some interesting watching if someone decides to watch the whole Let's Play later on. Alright, so now we've got the piece of heart, which is good. I think I fade out here, or I cut here, and I come back when I have the chicken the second time. And we actually go to the place that we're meant to go. So like I said, it's off to the left here. So you can see it there. Can you see? It's actually very tiny. If you had a TV screen, like a CRT TV from like the 90s, I don't think you would be able to see that. So even I can't see it with my digital monitor. Right. It said the guide actually had a lot of instructions about how to be careful with your chicken so that you could fly down to the next path. But which is obviously why I waited so long down there. But we don't need the chicken this time. And the chicken's gone anyway. So now we'll just dive to our timely survival. Chicken's gone. I like to watch the chicken fly up when you throw it into the water. Like it's just like woo. That's quite a nice dive, actually. It's quite picturesque. I do like the use of space. Like there's a good use of large cavernous spaces. This is actually going to be quite a long episode. All right, I think I'll leave it here. I'm just going to sit down and record 14 episodes now. I'm going to try and absolutely bust it out and see how fast I can get things working. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in a bit.